Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Knitting Podcast. Honestly, one of my favorite skirts to date. Right now, it kind of just looks like a kitchen rag. I just want to apologize right off the bat because I am a liar. This podcast is going to be for May 2024. How I like to structure my podcast are FOs, whips, yarn acquisitions, and knitting plans, but there's no yarn acquisition. I think I bought a lot of yarn between the months of February and April, so it's nice to have a little bit of a break, and you guys will be proud of me because I actually stash busted and I used up a lot of yarn in my stash, or I am using a lot of yarn from my stash for the projects I'm working on right now. Let's start with FOs. I have one FO this month and it is the Marie skirt. This skirt, oh my goodness, honestly one of my favorite skirts to date. This is so comfortable as a skirt and it just looks so good. It actually shapes my body really well and it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable or anything. A lot of my tighter skirts will hug me too closely around the hip area and then it doesn't fall nicely when it hits the legs. But this one, I wouldn't even call this a tight skirt. Actually, it's more like an A-line skirt. It comes down exactly like this. I think the skirt looks really great. It looks very comfortable and it doesn't make you look like you're being sausaged in a skirt. Previously, we talked about how the yarn actually makes it look kind of like denim. So as you can see, this is what the yarn looks like. To me, it still gives off that like, not really light, but maybe like medium wash denim. I really like it. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I was very conflicted in how I wanted to continue on with the skirt. So when you start with the skirt, you can either choose mini, midi, or maxi. I already knew that I didn't want to do maxi. Mini was not my first choice because I want to wear this on a regular basis, and usually minis I can't wear it in more of a business setting, so I try not to make mini skirts. But when I was knitting this, I felt like the mini version looked so cute on me and I just fell in love with the length. And then I put up a poll on IG and I just asked you guys what I should do and you guys gave me such amazing advice. A lot of you guys actually told me to knit the mini because I can save the extra yarn to make a matching top, and I thought that was a wonderful idea. So I went ahead and I started changing gears to do a mini skirt. At the point when I wanted to do a mini, I think I was about here and I thought that I could just knit a little bit more and the split would still look fine, but it was not fine. It looked really weird. So I kept knitting and I think I was about here when I realized that I was at pencil skirt length and the split looks really weird on me. So then I went back on IG and I asked you guys like what I should do. Should I frog and redo and maybe just start the split up here and then do a mini, or if I should just cast off at that point because maybe you guys thought it looked okay, or if I should just continue and knit a midi. And most of you guys actually said just continue and knit a midi, which I was very happy about because I hate frogging and redoing. I feel like I lose a lot of motivation when I frog and redo my work. At that point, I kind of just made the decision and just continued to knit a midi skirt, and I'm very happy because this ended up looking perfect and now I can wear it to work, I can wear it everywhere. It's just the perfect length skirt for me. But yeah, that's just something I realized where you can't really just change gears when you're knitting. You have to plan ahead and you have to account for it. Now that the skirt is longer, I think the split looks a lot more natural. It no longer looks like I accidentally broke part of the thread and now it's unraveling, if that makes any sense. But when I did the mini version and I wanted to kind of stop knitting, that's exactly the vibe I was getting. In terms of what size I knit a size 3. My waist actually fell into the size 2 measurements, but my hips fell into size 4, so I ended up just knitting a size 3. I knew the waist would be a little bit bigger for me, but I really wanted my hips to fit properly into the skirt and not give me that really tight look, because I just wanted a skirt that would be comfortable for me and would fit me properly. So I really made sure I did enough increases to satisfy that requirement for the hips. In the end, I will say I think the waist is too large. If you look at how I've threaded the elastic in and what it looks like on the inside, you can kind of see a lot of like scrunching up. Kind of reminds me of when you wear sweatpants and the top waistband will scrunch up because you know they made the elastic tighter for your waist, but then the fabric is actually much wider. So just keep that in mind if you're knitting the skirt. Make sure your waist actually fits and don't go too large, because when you thread in the elastic, it's not gonna look good. You can already see it here now. So Andie's knit actually teaches you how to customize the increases in the pattern to fit exactly your custom waist and hip measurements. And I didn't really think to do that because it was a test knit. I just wanted to follow the pattern to see how it would fit. If I were to knit this again, I definitely would have customized the increases between my waist to my hips, and I think it would fit a lot better. In terms of increases, I did actually do one extra increase because I felt like my bottoms were still not loose enough for it to look more comfortable and casual, because my hips were actually a size 4. So even though I was knitting a size 3, I felt like it wasn't increased enough. So I did do one extra increase. Overall, I think this was a very easy knit. It wasn't a long knit if you don't make any mistakes. Like, I kind of screwed up on the German short row because I was reading it wrong and understanding it wrong. So I had to frog a lot for the German short row. Other than that, I didn't really do much else frogging. When you knit this, you basically don't really need to use your brain, which is perfect because I don't really like to use my brain. I like it when I'm kind of just knitting in the round and getting it done. At the bottom, I just binded it off with normal bind off, not Italian or anything like that, just a regular bind off, and it looks really good. This is what the bind off looks like. So I really like this FO and this test knit. It was a really great experience. I love seeing everybody else's skirt and how they look in it. And Anna is so great. She responds like within a couple hours, which is incredible even with the time zone difference. I really appreciate her, and she's really easy to work with, so it was a really good test knit experience. I'll leave the yarn that I used for this skirt down below. I've talked about it a few times already, so I'll just leave everything down below, or you can look at my other knitting podcast where I've shown it, and a knit vlog will be coming up soon for this, so check it out if you are interested. I love how the hand-dyed yarn actually gives it this marled effect. It looks so good. I think from now on, I'm going to try my best to use one hand-dyed yarn held together with a solid yarn. I just really like the effect this gives, and it makes the piece a little bit more fun to look at, and it's not just one solid color. So this is the Marie skirt by Andie's Knits, and that is the only FO I have this month. And now let's move on to whips. Before we start the whip portion, I just want to apologize right off the bat because I am a liar, and I have lied since the last podcast. I said that I wouldn't join any other test knits for a while, but I ended up joining another test knit. I think test knitting is very addicting. It just feels really nice when you see something that you already wanted to knit anyway, and there is a pattern and you have the opportunity to test knit and help the designer out. And also you're knitting with a bunch of other people who are also knitting it for the first time, so it's just such a great community. And yeah, I really like to test knit, so I don't want to say I won't be doing any more test knits because I don't want to lie again, but I am feeling like I want to slow down on the test knits. I think that's like a better way to put it. I want to slow down instead of like doing 3 test knits at once. I might do 1 at once or none at once. Let's put it at that. The test knit that I am going to talk about is the Haru vest, and this is by Knits by Summer, and I have gotten a decent amount done. I'm very proud of myself for this one. So the test knit period is about 6 weeks, but I think I started 1.5 weeks in because I went to Mexico for a little bit, and I didn't start until after I came back from Mexico. I was a little bit of a late starter, but I think it's fine because I'm pretty much a monogamous knitter. Typically I don't like to have more than one project, but sometimes I end up having more than one project. Even if I do, I try my best to finish one first before I continue with the others. For this test knit, I've already finished the back yoke. I finished the right front 2 days ago, and then for the left front, I did all of this just yesterday. The back definitely took me at least a week, and then the right front I think took me about 1.5 days, and the left, where I'm at right now, took me about a day, but I'm not done. So I would say each of the fronts takes about 1.5 days, and the back definitely took like several days. It's because when I'm cabling, my hands feel really tired and I need to take a lot of breaks and do a lot of hand exercises. So I think that's why when I do cables, I'm a lot slower. I can't just continuously knit. I need to actually take breaks and stretch out my hands and arms and stuff like that. These cables are really, really clean. If you want to take a look, this is what the cabling looks like. I love how it looks. It's so pretty, so clean. And even before this test knit, I already knew that I wanted a cabled vest, and this is just checking off all the boxes because I already wanted this, and now I have the opportunity to test knit this, so I'm very happy with it. So this is what it looks like so far. It looks a little bit silly right now just because it's not done, but yeah. I think I have about 3 or 4 weeks left of this test knit. I still have a little bit of time and I think I should be okay. In terms of the yarn, I actually stash busted for this, which I'm very happy about. I didn't buy any new yarn. For this vest, I am using this alpaca yarn by Santa's Garn. I've had this yarn in my stash for so long, so I'm very happy that I can actually use it up now for a project. And I actually bought a lot of this too. I think I purchased this during the Boxing Day sale from True North Knitting. I don't remember. I think it was called True North Knitting. And the reason I purchased this was because people always tell me that alpaca yarn is very soft. So I decided to buy it to try it out, but I didn't really like it as a mohair alternative, so I ended up not using it. But it's perfect because now I can use it for this vest. So the problem with me is, like, every time I think mohair is itchy, it's not my body, it's my arms. I hate when my arms are being itched, but if it's like my chest and body, I think I'm fine. So that's why I felt like using this for the vest was perfect. So that was the first yarn I'm using for the whip. And then the second one is this cashmere yarn that I bought off of AliExpress. I've talked about this yarn multiple times before actually. I've used it for my Salty Days sweater. I've also purchased the blue version before where I reverse dye, like try to remove the dye of, and that's actually the cashmere yarn I use for the Marie skirt. I really like this yarn because first of all, it was super cheap. Like when I purchased it, there were 6 balls of these for maybe $30-something. The quality of it feels okay actually. It's super soft. The only thing is it will pill because it's so soft. Warning, whatever pictures they have on AliExpress showing the color of the yarn is completely inaccurate. So don't even go off of those photos. They're not accurate. The color in person always looks worse. So just be mindful of that. If you buy white, I think you're pretty safe. But if you buy like blue, for example, it's gonna come out more vibrant and maybe unwearable than in the photo they show on AliExpress. So just keep in mind about that. So this is the second yarn that I'm holding together for this vest. And then the third yarn is also from AliExpress. I just wanted to check out some Chinese yarn, so I just bought a bunch off of AliExpress and they were super cheap anyways, but I never ended up using them because I just had other alternatives available at the time. So I just have a bunch of yarn in my stash that I haven't used yet, and these were some of them. So this is another AliExpress yarn. It's called Diamond Mohair, and this is what it looks like. I purchased this a long time ago as well, and it gives off this tiny, like a little bit more of a gray color instead of a white color, even though I know when I purchased it, I think they called it white, and I definitely think this is gray rather than white. When I hold these three together, it kind of blends into this cooler white color, which I really like, so no complaints. I think it looks really great so far. So I just want to show you guys the swatch I did for this. I knew I wanted to use yarn from my stash, but I didn't know what I wanted to use. So I decided to try out 3 different combinations of the yarn I have. As you can tell, the top one's more white, the middle is more gray, and then the bottom is a little bit more of like a warmer white. Let me start from the bottom. This one was knit up with the Babyl yarn in 1015 Putty by Santa's Garn, and I held it together with the alpaca, but I felt like this was too thick for my liking, so I said no to this. And you can tell that it's wider too in the swatch. Even though the bottom one I met gauge, I didn't really like the feeling of it. It just felt way too thick, and if you look at the cables, I don't know if you can tell, but it looks very flat. So I didn't feel like this was the yarn combination for me. And then the middle one is actually what I used, which is the 3 that I just showed you, and I think it looks fine, and it's very fluffy and it's super smooth, so I really like that. And then the top one is actually made with 2 strands of the cashmere and 2 strands of the alpaca held together, so 4 strands together, and that made up the top one. But I didn't really want to use this one either because it just didn't feel as soft and smooth as the middle, and it felt a little bit thicker. So I decided to go with the middle. For this one, I am knitting a size 1, which perfectly fits my body measurements. It's meant to be an oversized vest. I think when I'm done, it's gonna be like perfect or a tiny bit oversized, which is what I would want for this anyway. So yeah, I'm just chugging along on this one, and hopefully I can finish the left front and join the body tonight. That's my goal. This is knitted on 4mm needle, and I didn't size up or anything. I felt like I was pretty much at gauge, like a tiny bit smaller, but I think it's fine because I didn't really want it too oversized anyway. That's kind of where I'm at with this vest, and very excited for it to be done so I can wear it because I've been wanting this cabled vest for so long, and I'm just happy that I get to test knit one of them. So yeah, there's one whip. For my second whip, I am still knitting the Camisole number 5. I feel like I've shown you this one for like a while now. This one is still in the works. I've kind of paused this until I finish the vest. So this is what I mean. Even though I have 2 whips right now, I just kind of put this on the side until I finish that one. I don't really like jumping between knits. I'm just gonna focus on the vest first and then work on the camisole second. This is a gift knit and my friend is coming end of June, so I really hope I can finish both of them. But I know if I just finish the vest and then focus completely on this, I can get this one done in about a week. Right now it kind of just looks like a kitchen rag, does it not? I really think that before you do like the armholes and the collar, everything looks so bad. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't look complete at all, but once you do the collar and the armholes, everything looks so much better. So yeah, right now I'm just meh about this one. So there's that, and I think that's actually it. I don't have much else to share this month. I was just really focused on finishing up the skirt, and this month I'm going to be really focused on finishing up these 2 whips. I do have some plans on what I want to knit next. I really want to knit these other items that are not garment related. Like for example, there's this chicken that I really want to knit, and it's so cute. I saw a picture of it and I was just like, I want this chicken. And then other than that, I also really want to knit the fish bag. I saw it on Instagram. I was so inspired and I think it looks so cute. I want to knit it more on a stiffer yarn so that it kind of holds its shape, and I want to use it as like a charm for my bags. I think that would look really, really nice. So those are 2 things that I want to knit that's not garment related, and maybe in the next month or 2. Other than that, I don't really have anything else. And yeah, hopefully you guys like this video. I do updates every month, and it's really just kind of a catch up between us on what I'm knitting and what I'm planning to knit. So leave down below what you are knitting and what you're planning to knit next, because I want to know and I want to be inspired. So definitely talk to me in the comments. But yeah, this is it for my video. I didn't have any yarn acquisitions, so this is a little bit of a shorter video. If you want to see more of my content, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. I like to post knit vlogs and podcasts and sometimes just vlogs about my life, so if you're interested, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you want more regular updates from me, then follow me on Instagram because I post more regularly there. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!